Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The twin suns of Vireo hung like molten gold above azure skies, casting an otherworldly glow over the bioluminescent foliage that adorned the landscape. Tropical flora swayed rhythmically, alive with vibrant colors that harmoniously pulsed with the heartbeat of the world around them. At the center of this breathtaking arena, amid the scents of sweet blooms mingling with spice-laden incense, the Festival of Reckoning was underway, a sacred yet grim event among the Altherai people, known for their vibrant customs and brutal traditions. The ceremonial platform, elevated like a grand throne, had seemingly materialized from the vibrant flora, its structure adorned with silver markings that glimmered in the sunlight. The crowd buzzed with both excitement and tension, filling the air with an electric expectancy. Today, they would witness the punishment of a young woman, Saria, who dared defy her tribe's rigid laws and cultural expectations. Among the spectators, Corbin Nash, a battle-hardened sergeant of the Galactic Peacekeepers, stood vigilant, his sharp eyes scanning the throng. Tall and broad-shouldered, with the faded scars of previous battles etching their stories on his skin, he was known for advocating peace and understanding. Yet today, the sight of Saria shackled and desperate at the center of the platform ignited a fierce turmoil within him. His rugged exterior projected authority, but his heart thudded with indignation. "Why are we just standing here?" His comrade, Lieutenant Maya Elders, murmured beside him, disbelief lacing her voice. "This isn't just punishment, it's barbaric." Corbin sighed deeply, pulling the brim of his cap lower as if it could shield him from the weight of the situation. He longed to act, to intervene, but the orders of the Galactic Unity Council loomed over him like a malevolent specter. "We have to wait for the signal," he replied, each word labored against the backdrop of an impending tragedy. As the tribal leaders adorned in kaleidoscopic garments stepped forward, high above the assembly, High Elder Varas raised his fervent voice. "Today, we purify our nation. Witness justice in its raw form, a lesson for all who dare defy our customs." Corbin felt the anguish radiating from Saria as her eyes searched the crowd, pleading for mercy amidst expressions of twisted anticipation. Time seemed to fracture around him. The raucous chants of "blood for the blood" pulsed in time with his heartbeat, echoing the simmering violence beneath their cultural facade. In that instant, Corbin realized he could not tolerate inaction any longer. He surged from his position, heart pounding with urgency. With each step he took towards the platform, the cacophony of the festival faded into a tunnel of resolve. Without a second thought, he dashed into the shadows, positioning himself for the impending rescue, an act that could spark chaos, but was necessary to save an innocent life from gruesome punishment. Just as Saria's fate hung in the balance, Corbin called upon all his training and experience, awakening latent strengths he felt in his core. He was not merely a soldier in the Galactic Peacekeepers. He was a warrior with the heart beating for justice. The drums pounding in the distance provided a chaotic rhythm for the crescendo of violence that was about to unfold. He sprinted toward the platform with determination, hoping to catch the tribal guards off guard amidst their frenzy of anticipation. As he reached the edge, he saw the expressions of hatred ignited by zealotry fixed on Saria. "Corbin, be careful," Maya whispered urgently, her eyes wide with concern, but Corbin silenced her with a determined glance. The moment was suspended, yet fury ignited within him. With a swift, calculated movement, he leaped onto the platform, colliding with one of the guards wielding a spear. The guard's expression shifted from complacency to shock as Corbin's broad shoulder knocked him aside. With resilience igniting his voice, Corbin shouted, "Let her go!" The Altherai clan turned to him with disbelief, yet the High Elder's smirk dominated his face. "You are outnumbered, Earthling," Varas hissed, stepping forward with the confidence of superiority that came from centuries of tradition. "Your interference will cost you your life." Corbin turned to Saria, quickly unshackling her wrists with a flick of his knife, the cold metal glinting threateningly in the sun. "Get ready to run," he urged, his tone holding an edge of command mixed with compassion. Saria nodded, her terror morphing into a flicker of hope as she stood beside him. The crowd buzzed with outrage, but Corbin's presence held an unyielding force. He could feel the tension coil like a spring, ready to fracture the moment he fired the first shot. Anyone who takes a step toward us will regret it, Corbin warned, taking aim at the advancing guards. The situation exploded into chaos when he pulled the trigger, the laser slicing through the air and striking a guard near Varys, who stumbled backward. Before the crowd could process the moment, Corbin grabbed Seria's hand, propelling them both into the dense forest that bathed Vireo in shadows and light. As they tore through the underbrush, a sense of exhilaration mingled with the haze of fear, their breaths mingling in the tension of unexpected freedom. Mid-leap, Corbin risked a glance toward Seria. "Are you all right?" he panted as they stumbled deeper into the vibrant wilderness, the calls of the festival fading behind them. "I think so," she gasped, her voice trembling. A flare of courage sparked within her. "You saved me. Why would you risk your life for someone like me?" Corbin slowed briefly to ensure their path became less cluttered, his heart rattling as he answered, "I can't stand injustice. It's wrong to let someone die for making their own choices. You deserve freedom and to live without fear." Corbin and Seria pressed onward, seeking refuge deeper within the lush, bioluminescent forest filled with life that pulsed rhythmically around them. Greenish-blue light glowed from the intricate patterns on both flora and fauna, the greenery shimmering against the softening glow of the setting suns. Eventually, they stumbled upon a secluded glade, an untouched sanctuary that breathed life into their lungs. They sank onto the ground, breathless and trembling from the adrenaline coursing through their veins. Corbin scanned their surroundings. Every shadow seemed alive, whispering tales of danger still waiting in the twilight. Yet, as he turned to Seria, her striking features illuminated by the gentle glow of the foliage, he marveled at her resilience. Seria brushed her long, flowing hair from her face, her skin shimmering as if kissed by the stars. "We can't stay here for long. They'll come looking for me," she murmured, her voice laced with both freedom and fear. "We need to devise a plan," Corbin replied, his mind racing with possibilities. "But first, we should make sure the area is safe." As they worked quickly to scan their surroundings, Corbin's respect for Seria deepened with each passing moment. While he was accustomed to combat, he marveled at how she moved through the landscape, as graceful as a whisper and equally fierce. "Tell me about your people," Corbin urged as they settled beneath the shelter of a great tree, its massive roots tracing through the earth like veins. "What drives their traditions? Why do they resort to such brutality?" Seria hesitated, her brow furrowing as distant memories flared to life. "The Althari value strength and honor above all else. Our customs dictate that punishment must demonstrate strength, a warning to others who might consider rebellion. But many do not understand the pain it inflicts on our society." Corbin felt a torrent of empathy slicing through his core. "You can challenge that," he said earnestly. "What if you could unite with others who feel the same? There might be those who wish for change." "The elders will never allow it," Seria responded, her voice thick with sorrow, yet emboldened by a flicker of hope. "But I must try. My brother, Duran, has been a voice against these customs." "Then we must find him," Corbin urged, the spark of courage igniting in his chest. "Together, we can ignite that wave of change." As dusk settled around them, their shared stories began to weave a connection that transcended boundaries. They were not just fighter and quarry, but allies bound by a common sense of purpose. Vireo's forests faded into shadow as they sat together, weaving plans for a brighter future. Through the following days, Seria and Corbin navigated the twilight expanse of Vireo, fueled by the urgency of their mission to find Duran. The vibrant ecosystem pulsed gently with life that felt both magical and threatening, a reminder of how swiftly their fortunes could shift. Seria's determination became a guiding force, overcoming the lingering fears that had clouded her mind. The moments spent in the hidden glade solidified her conviction. They were building towards something more powerful than either had imagined. "I know my brother. He'll know the right people to rally against the elders," Seria declared one evening as they set up camp by a serene stream lit with bioluminescent algae. "But it won't be easy to convince him." Corbin looked at her with an intensity that radiated encouragement. "If he's as strong as you are, he'll come around. We just need a well-thought-out approach. Underneath the stars, they quietly vocalized their plans, hope intermingling with uncertainty. By the time they approached a nearby village, where Duran was known to gather support among like-minded Althari, their hearts were entwined with the vision of liberation. Standing amidst the colorful market that bustled with life, they sought out Duran in the communal space, filling with voices of dissent. Vendors shouted their wares, while the vibrant tapestry of colors draped the surroundings. It felt otherworldly, yet accessible. Saria spotted her brother meditating, while his friends exchanged ideas about the future, seated in a circle under the canopy of geodesic flora. "There he is," Saria exclaimed, extending her hand toward Corbin. "Let's go now." As they approached, Duran looked up, his gaze penetrating and meaningful, as if he sensed the gravity of their shared charge. "Saria, you've returned," he exclaimed, his expression a blend of joy and concern. "Where have you been? I heard you were in danger." Saria began, her voice breaking slightly. "But I was saved by Corbin, a soldier from the Galactic Peacekeepers, and we need your help." Duran turned sharply toward Corbin, sizing him up with a fierce intensity. "You saved my sister from certain death. You are either a fool or a hero." Corbin straightened, sensing that first impressions could dictate their path. "A little bit of both, I suppose," he replied, holding Duran's gaze. "But we can forge a new future for our peoples if we work together." Saria interjected, her heart pounding. "Duran, the elders will not relent. They plan to punish those who stray from tradition. It's time to unite against them and change our way of life." With a furrow of his brow, Duran considered the proposal, glancing at his friends who began to gather in curiosity. "And you believe that alliance with a human will create a sustainable change?" "Yes," Corbin insisted, determination lacing his words as he stepped closer, his energy infectious. "Your strength lies not only in numbers, but in shared purpose. Together, we can confront Varas and those who cling to power through fear." The others murmured quietly, some skeptical, but an ember of hope sparked among them. Slowly, acceptance began to bloom as Corbin described the vision for their unity, how their strengths could be intertwined in a way that crossed cultural boundaries. As dusk descended and the stars emerged, forming a canopy of twinkling glimmers, a flicker of hope ignited among the Althari. They began to strategize, and soon Duran's voice rang out, strong and resonant. "Let us forge our path. For too long, we've accepted the chains of oppression." With renewed vigor, the meeting transformed into a rallying cry for revolution, the atmosphere charged with anticipation and determination. As the days turned to weeks, the coalition of humans and Althari solidified, their spirits unwavering in the pursuit of justice. They forged alliances with distant tribes disillusioned by the oppressive traditions and began to ignite a wave of dissent across the planet. Saria and Corbin stood shoulder to shoulder during this transformative phase, their bond strengthening as they lived through shared struggles. They carried out their plans meticulously. The talks of rebellion sparked whispers through the towns and villages, gathering supporters who felt trapped under Varas's heavy hand. In preparation for the impending confrontation, Duran daydreamed of swirling strategies, laying out the plans that would see their cultures reborn. "The time has come for us to stand united. We confront Varas, not just for you, but for every Althari who feels overshadowed by the weight of our customs," he declared to the assembly under the bright sky. Corbin felt pride swell in his chest as he witnessed Saria's strength. She was transforming into a natural leader, guiding her people toward a new vision brimming with possibilities. Their chemistry sparked further as Corbin realized how deeply he had grown to admire her unyielding spirit. But moments of light were punctuated by shadows. As they prepared for the confrontation with High Elder Varas, tension thrummed in the air, filled with uncertainty and fear of the unknown. Corbin often found himself reflecting on their growing closeness during these quiet moments, the magnetic pull between them intertwining their destinies. "Corbin," Saria murmured one evening as they rested beneath their glade, the stars twinkling like diamonds overhead. "Do you think we're ready for what lies ahead?" "I believe we are, because we're not alone," Corbin replied sincerely, glancing at her as he brushed a tendril of hair behind her ear. The warmth of his touch brushed against the tension in the air. As dusk turned to night, their lips met softly. A tentative yet electric connection blossomed. Their hearts harmonized in that fleeting moment, as if promising a brighter future woven from the very fabric they had begun to create together. But soon realization struck with the alarming news that Varys had summoned the Althari for a grand assembly, a final attempt to quash dissent and punish anyone who stood against the traditions they sought to change. The call echoed through the towns like a rapid drumbeat of impending war, and urgency propelled their preparations forward. Tonight, we move under the cover of darkness. By dawn, we will gather our allies and confront Varys, Duran proclaimed, gathering all who believed in their cause. As dawn broke over Vireo, the atmosphere transformed into a battlefield poised for change. Corbin could feel the vibration of anticipation in his veins, their makeshift army only slightly shadowing the numbers Varys had at his disposal. Yet the spark of resolve dampened their fears, a belief in unity intrinsic to their brave forefathers, guiding them forward. With the first rays of day pressing through the canopy, they marched toward the designated meeting ground, a sacred site often used by the elders to rally their supporters. The distant sounds of war drums reverberated, an ominous reminder of the challenge ahead. Corbin moved through the ranks of loyal warriors, rallying them with both words and gaze. The Althari around him stood resolute, seemingly locked in an internal battle between fear and hope, yet the outcome rested in their hands. With the growing throng around Varys' warriors impatiently pacing, Corbin approached the radical tribal leaders and the High Elder himself. "This is your last chance to break these chains, Varys," he shouted, unapologetically commanding attention through raw emotion. Varys' gaze turned piercing, his stoic demeanor unfaltering. "You misguided children believe that by banding together, you may erase centuries of tradition. I will not stand for your rebellion." As Corbin squared his shoulders, the sense of unity among the Althari and human forces thrummed to life, a palpable wave of unwavering foundation brought to bear. "You speak of tradition, yet you entrust our people's lives to customs that only perpetuate fear. We will not yield." Duran stepped forward, his voice raising to a boom. "We come as a united force, ready to reclaim our strength. You can no longer control us." Varys spat at the ground, a sign of defiance blaring through his bones. "You will be dealt with accordingly," he roared, signifying his guards to advance. Immediately, chaos erupted. A cacophony of shouts and weaponry clashing erupted as Corbin fought fiercely, side by side with Saria and Duran, instinctually navigating the battlefield. He felt the weight of every blow, the purpose behind each movement, as their unity swelled into a force to reckon with. But an unsettling fear tugged at him as he pushed forward. The struggle to bind their strength together hinged on a life-or-death gamble. "Corbin, watch out!" Saria's voice broke through, and he turned just in time to see a guard charging toward him, weapon raised. He narrowly dodged left, countering with an elbow to the guard's ribs, sending him sprawling. "I'm fine. Keep pushing forward," he yelled back, adrenaline coursing through his veins. Amidst the clash of steel and cries of rage, the tides began to shift. The Althari, once bound by fear, began to discover their strength catalyzed by newfound confidence, fueling their collective spark. Each victory against Varys' forces a testament to courage rising from the ashes. As the battle raged, Saria fought with grace in her movements, determination propelling her forward. It filled Corbin with inspiration. At that moment, he felt more than just her presence. He felt that they were one heartbeat working for an unyielding future. Fury boiled in Varys' eyes, and he brandished his weapon, only for Duran to leap forward, channeling all the years of his oppression into a single blow. With a gasp of pain, Varys stumbled, but not before his eyes locked onto Saria, a glare filled with hatred that promised consequences for her defiance. "No!" Corbin shouted, moving swiftly to protect Saria as the elder staggered back. "This ends now." As victory surged through them, cracks formed in the ethos of the council. The elders who had instilled fear for so long found resistance igniting within their followers. As the battle began to wind to a close, the realization dawned on those present. The Althari people had reclaimed their strength, fighting back against the oppressive traditions that had bound them for centuries. In the fading chaos of the battlefield, Corbin stuck close to Saria, an unyielding protector willing to face any danger that might threaten her safety, his heart pounding not just with adrenaline, but with a profound sense of purpose. "We did it," Saria murmured, disbelief fluttering in her voice as she instinctively clung to his arm. Her heart raced, mingled with exhilaration and an undercurrent of fear. There was something undeniably beautiful about the power of their united front, but the aftermath hovered dangerously close to uncertainty. They stood in the midst of a landscape forever altered, broken weapons scattered across the vibrant earth. The colors of their world, once clashing against the backdrop of turmoil, blossomed into a renewed sense of possibility. Corbin scanned the surroundings. The air smelled of sweat, dust, and the mingling remnants of victory. Altherai warriors laughed and cheered, breaking through the lingering chaos as they embraced one another, a wave of solidarity washing over them. "Look," Saria exclaimed, her eyes wide with awe. "They're realizing the victory we've achieved together." Full of hope, Corbin felt pride swell in his chest. However, a flicker of caution threaded through his thoughts. Though the immediate threat of oppression had been rendered impotent today, the fight for a deeper, more enduring change still loomed ahead. Suddenly, a familiar figure stepped forth amidst the gathering. High Elder Varus, bloodied, battered, yet not entirely defeated. He glared at the throng, pure fury igniting his eyes, mixing with acknowledgement that the tide had shifted decisively against him. "You think this rebellion will quell the righteous strength of our traditions?" Varus shouted, pain etched into his worn features. "You will suffer for this. Elders will always prevail." His voice ratcheted upward, unyielding and desperate. The crowd murmured with uncertainty, a poignant blend of tension and anticipation weaving through the gathered warriors. Saria stepped forward, her head held high, her words igniting beneath the hum of tension. "Your customs have crushed our voices for too long. We are not weak, Varus. We defy the chains you sought to bind us with. We have risen, and we will not succumb to fear." Corbin watched with admiration as Saria's presence filled every corner of the clearing. He could see the fire in her spirit compelling her to fight for her beliefs. It drove her forward with powerful conviction, and as the emotions radiated from her, he realized how desperately he had wanted to protect that spark. "Enough," Corbin chimed in, stepping back slightly but resolutely. "This is not just about punishment. It's about the future of your people. It is about dismantling a cycle of oppression. We stand here, united, ready to rewrite the traditions that have oppressed you." Varus's sharp gaze darted about, marking every face in the crowd who had dared to mention of doubt. "This will not end well for you," he hissed, his tone drenched in contempt. Forgotten alliances fraying at the seams, Corbin could feel the air tightening with tension. And yet, amidst the chaos came an unshakable strength. "Together, we are unyieldable," Duran declared, stepping to the forefront, radiating confidence and defiance as he clasped his sister's hand. "You, Varus, have allowed fear to dictate our lives for far too long. We will no longer kneel before you and your council." The elders surrounding Varus began to riot with disbelief, rousing uncertainty among their loyalists. Corbin found himself drawing strength from the bemused glances shared around him. The resistance was thriving, and their faith in liberation grew with every heartbeat. "Listen to the voices that once trembled in your shadows," Saria implored, her voice rising with passion. "Embrace the strength and unity. Together we are unbreakable. You think you can tear down centuries of tradition and pain?" Varus shouted in response, but Corbin could already see the cracks beginning to form in the foundations of his authority. "Not by force, but through love," Saria replied softly, yet firmly, her gaze unwavering. "We strive for a world free from fear, a place where cooperation and compassion reign." The gathered warriors began to murmur, expressions shifting from doubt to realization. The narrative was transforming, and with it came a burgeoning sense of liberation. The old ways held no power against the conviction of a united front, and its very core was fueled by the realization that they had been leading a singular fight against tyranny. Then, a glimmer of confusion flashed in Varys' dark eyes. As disillusioned Althari warriors broke ranks, stepping forward to join Saria, Corbin felt an unmistakable spark of triumph. Hope glimmered in every heart present, a realization unfurling that their pain would no longer be tolerated. Varys, Corbin pressed, feeling adrenaline surge through him as he took a step closer, the air crackling with a mingled tension of fear and opportunity. This is your moment to join us, or be left behind. The fear that shackles our hearts is breaking. Will you choose bitterness or transformation? The dark power that had clung to Varys began to wane, his confidence fraying under the pressure of a newfound collective resolution. Fools, you will regret this, he spat, his bravado failing to convince even his closest allies. Corbin watched the warriors behind him engage in quiet discussions, forming a chain of unity, a powerful current of voices reaffirming their commitment to a different fate. Saria's face illuminated with fierce determination as she stepped further into the fold. Your reign has ended, Varys. We will not allow fear to dictate our future any longer. There was a surge of power in her voice, a crescendo that forced his attention. Eager allies began to join her side, each voice melding into the tapestry of rebellion that was wrapping them as one. Amidst the cries of hope and defiance, Corbin felt the buzz of opportunity surrounding him, a unique portal that channeled their grief into action. He reached for Saria's hand, enveloping her within his grasp, their shared commitment palpable. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden glow across the horizon, the people around him began to chant in rhythm, a chorus of resistance echoing against the foundations of oppression. He realized this was the culmination of their shared journey, the manifestation of everything they had fought toward, transforming fear into freedom. The elders exchanged frantic glances. Varys' face twisted in anger as he saw his power slip away. This is treachery. You will suffer for your disobedience. Only if we allow you to dictate our fates any longer, Varys. Duran replied, confidence radiating from him like a guiding light. Your reign is over. Realizing the landscape had shifted profoundly, Corbin stepped back, letting the chorus of voices settle around him. He observed the Althari warriors pooling their strength, fear being washed away in waves of courage. The tide of rebellion pushed forward like an unstoppable force. Stand tall, he urged, channeling every ounce of passion from within. Let this be the beginning of a new age, a dawn that ushers in understanding, acceptance, and friendship. Together we stand, and we will face whatever may come. Saria turned toward him, her eyes gleaming with fierce emotion as she squeezed his hand. You've become not just a protector, but my partner in this quest for justice and change. Corbin felt heat rush through his body, igniting an ember of vulnerability and raw power. Together, we can transform our worlds. We can create a legacy that bridges both our peoples, a story that unites us. Their shared resolve ignited the potent energy of the crowd. It flowed like electricity, igniting every heart that surrounded them, an unstoppable force clamoring for a brighter future. Varys reeled from the rejection swirling around him, his confident facade shattering piece by piece. It could not escape him. The shadows that had long been cast across his people were lifting. The cry of the masses grew louder, drowning out his intent to dominate with fear. Your duty is no longer to subjugate, Corbin declared, tempered by the flames of oppression. Our hearts are raw yet resilient. Humanity thrives best when we celebrate love and difference instead of simply commanding subordination. As the final vestiges of Varys' power faded, bold warriors from across the battlefield drew near. They aligned themselves with the chorus of voices echoing around Corbin and Saria. With unwavering conviction, Saria stepped forward once more, her radiant voice piercing through the rift. United, we will create a brighter tomorrow. We will forge new paths infused with empathy. We will no longer be confined by tradition, but will conquer barriers with compassion. The crescendo of hope surged through the gathering as bonds began to solidify, voices entwined, their cries dancing amongst the echoes of their ancestors' struggles and victories. The faces around Corbin displayed a tapestry of emotions, belonging, pride, hope, and love. Yet in the midst of the jubilant noise, Varys stepped back and yelled, You think this is done? I promise you, this will return to haunt you all. Corbin felt a wave of determination wash over him. Varys, we are not afraid of your empty threats or the shadows of your past. We refuse to be dictated by your fear. You will take responsibility and face the truth of your actions. Varys clenched his fists, desperate but recognizing the shift in power. Corbin could almost see the environment coiling around him, exacerbating his discomfort. A former ruler, facing the repercussions of his manipulation. I will ensure this war is never over. I will see to it that you pay for your insurrection. Varys bellowed, though the confidence he had once exuded was faltering. Any battle you wage against us will falter as long as we are united, Varys, Duran asserted fiercely. You will find no followers among us. We will rise or fall together. Varys's gaze darted to the muted remnants of his once loyal guardians, many shifting their stance while trembling in doubt. The tide of confidence among them had begun to invigorate the very air they breathed. The elders' grip on tradition was eroding before their very eyes, crumbling like the aged stones of a forgotten past. As the vibrations of their rebellion surged forth, Corbin felt Seria's grip remain steadfast, a gentle touch against the trepidation swirling within him. They stood shoulder to shoulder, steadfast in the face of uncertainty, and it struck him then how far they had come, how much they had fought together. Join us, Varys, in crafting a new legacy for future generations, he declared, voice resolute amidst the uproar. Back down. Rewrite your story while you still have the power to choose differently. The moment stretched awkwardly. The future hung in the balance like a gossamer thread, fragile yet resilient. Seria's warm fingers rested against Corbin's arm. He felt her solidarity pulsing through him, that unique connection binding their fates together. Two worlds intertwining against the unconventional order. At last, a puffed Varys narrowed his eyes, the shadow of the past swirling dangerously close to the edge of vanishing. You think this is victory? He snarled, though doubt was creeping into his tone as uncertainty twisted his features. I know this is just the beginning, Corbin affirmed, stepping closer, making himself a physical embodiment of the truth they were creating. The dawn bringing warmth and kindness will rise, and we will stand as co-architects of a future built on understanding. As the light began to fill the horizon, the chants from the crowd forged an anthem of hope, echoing through Vireo, sweeping away the final remnants of fear. Allies stood side by side, their hearts igniting into an inextinguishable flame of rebellion, transforming them into the future leaders he had always longed to assist. Amid the hope, Varys faltered, wrestling with an internal battle engulfing him, leaving him with scant remnants of authority. The chant of unified voices melded with one another, intertwining their lives into something greater than mere existence, a movement toward transformation and coexistence. Corbin's heart bounded with pride at the unity surrounding him. The gathered forces began to join hands, merging their hopes together, a tapestry woven from many threads, yet altogether resilient. He breathed deeply, savoring the scent of freedom, a potent elixir poised to destiny. Reserved whispers that had previously echoed in his mind began to recede as the sounds of celebration enveloped him. He considered the mountain they had ascended together. As strength coursed through the bond of hands clasping, he felt whole, echoing solidarity forging a path that cracked open new horizons. Are you ready for whatever tomorrow may bring? Seria asked, her gaze piercing through him like light breaking through darkness. Always, he replied, his voice steady with conviction. With you, I feel charged. Whatever these paths may hold, we will face them together. As they turned to embrace the dawn cascading across the horizon, Corbin felt more than just the weight of uncertainty. It was the exhilaration of co-creation, of revolution. Together, they would face their future with unrelenting vigor, ready for the tides of change sweeping over their collective destinies. In those very moments, Corbin took Seria's hand once more, feeling the promise of their unique bond envelop him, a tapestry of courage stitched into the unfolding landscape of Vireo. As sunlight bathed the glade in warmth, he felt the tangible shifts of generations, once lost now transformed, into hopeful stars ready to burst into existence. The cosmos opened up at their feet, whispers of unity stirring in the yearning winds. "Let us change the stars together, one heartbeat at a time," he said softly, their fates intertwined. With hearts full of courage, Seria's voice rang through the exiting veil of doubt. "We will fight for our new dawn, forever onward." As the glow of sunrise illuminated the gatherings, their joyful chorus echoed through the air like a melodic promise. They marched forward, hand in hand, forging beyond the boundaries of their worlds, newly entwined explorers navigating the limitless cosmos together.